Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Darkest Timeline podcast. So, just me for the day, talking games, movies, TV, possibly not. Who knows at this point in time? There'll be stuff from the week, that's for sure, and anything else that crops up, I guess. If you are checking us out on YouTube, obviously you're a subscriber, and that makes you cool. If you're not checking us out on YouTube, get yourself over there, check us out, and then subscribe while you're there, because that helps out the channel. So yeah. So here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline podcast. If there's ever been a podcast that started without me making that noise. I'm old, you see. I was about to make an adjustment, but, take an extra 5 minutes and all that. Hello, how are you doing? I'm a little out of breath. Not that you asked. Just want to point out. I've literally gone baby to bed, downstairs, workout, out in the garage. It's tough out there at the moment. It is tough out there at the moment. Don't know what it is. I thought maybe I wasn't eating enough. Then realised that's not a thing. So then I was like, I don't know, I feel lacking in energy when I go out there. So yeah, it's tough. Come in, do the boxing. Boxing is super hard. I just keep shouting at the opponent, telling him that he's cheating, which I truly believe. I believe he is cheating, being the computer-generated boxing opponent that he is. And then I've literally shot up here and got set up, a little out of breath. Got a little coffee water combo going. Ultimately, I'm just delaying starting for no reason other than I'm not overly sure I've got loads to talk about. So that means it's going to be a over an hour podcast. Right, come on, let's get going. I got one of those movie posters. I don't mean a movie poster. I have many of those, or have had many of those in my time. Some bits and bobs, a little change around in here, moved a couple of pictures, put an old picture back up, so the Zomblog movie poster is back where it belongs. I don't think you might get to see it. I was going to say I don't think you'll get to see it because there's not much. That was the first thing I was going to cover. I feel like it's a million years since I last did a podcast. But that's largely to do with there being a distinct drop-off in podcasts. So yeah, it's like it's a week, which is unusual, but it is what it is. So I've got one of the movie posters. You may have seen them, you may not. It's like what's it got a name? It's actually here. It's right here. I say it's right here. It is right here, but it's buried. Right, here we go. Top 250 movies. The ultimate bucket list for cineast. The hell does that mean? And it says best picture, best director, best actor, best actress, best screenplay, best film editing. There's various pictures on the box. Batman, Interstellar, Psycho, Apocalypse Now. Don't know what that is. A hat. Rocky, Silence of the Lambs. A Guardians of the Galaxy. E.T. Fucking Corkrow, anyway. So yeah, I got this, and basically it's like, if you don't know what it is, it's got panels with movie names, and it's got a scratch-off element, so it comes with a little coin. There. And basically, if you've seen the movie, you scratch off the panel, and it reveals, often it's like another picture, like the poster for the movie or whatever. It was one of those. Not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I was given it, I was like, "Oh, this is a rubbish present." Not a fan. Not a fan when someone says this is a rubbish present, because they're either right, at which point you're just like, so why did you bother, kind of thing. Does that sound ungrateful? Don't know. Or they're wrong, and then you're left like, well, I don't think it's a rubbish present. Why do you think it's a rubbish present? That's not a great way to start out with a gift. And initially I was like, oh, it's one of those movie poster things that you scratch off the squares. Cool. But then I got sort of thinking about it. After a while I was like, I'm going to get that out and have a look at it. So I unrolled a bit of it and like found the coin and stuff. And then I started getting like really into it. I was like, oh, it's actually quite interesting. You know, there's X number of films I haven't seen. I am going to go out on a limb, and I'll tell you when I've done it all. I would say of 250 films, there's a high chance I will have seen 200 of them. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that. However, it's amazing the fact that there's a lot so far that I haven't scratched off. As I've said to about 3 people already, there's a running theme through these. I'll give you a starter on this one. Saving Private Ryan. Saving Private Ryan is a film I have seen, but I haven't scratched the box off because I wasn't fully compass when I watched it. So I don't consider I've seen it. The Green Mile. Never seen The Green Mile. And there was another one. And I get that, it starts, how come you've never seen that? I can't believe you've never seen that. And I'm like, what's the theme here? They've all got Tom Hanks in. Little fact, used to be quite a fan of Tom Hanks when he did like comedy, like Big and Money Pit, stuff like that. And then there was just like just through the 90s, all he did was chick flicks, and I couldn't stand him. And I've seen films with him in since, like I watched the Da Vinci Code movies, and I've seen Castaway, Forrest Gump. I actually really like Forrest Gump, so it's not like I won't watch things with him in, but I prefer not to. Tom Cruise, maybe it's people called Tom. Anyway, so started scratching stuff off. I'm man enough to admit I've never seen Schindler's List. One of those films that I can just say I haven't seen it. There's a lot of obscure stuff on there that I'm like, not only have I not seen this film, I've never heard of this film. There's a lot of classic stuff that I'm like, I have seen, but I can't say I've fully seen, so I can't scratch it off. There's like annoying things like Lord of the Rings. Basically, if it's a trilogy, you get 3 little boxes underneath, and then the main box. Lord of the Rings, I've only scratched off 1 and 2 because I've never seen the 3rd one, so I can't scratch the main box off. Something that has come off the back of this is there's a lot of Charlie Chaplin films on this list, and I'm like, I've never sat down and watched a Charlie Chaplin film. I've seen a multitude of clips, snippets of like the famous one, like when he's in the factory, and then there's the one I've seen the clip where the side of the building falls down, and he's stood in the window or the door, and it just sort of falls past over him. I saw a thing about how they made a scene, I think he's on roller skates or something, it's like as if he's going to fall down this big hole in this building, and it looks the way it looks, but in actual fact the hole and everything that's there is actually just a big painting, and it's not another one of those. I haven't actively gone out of my way to not watch Charlie Chaplin films, but I can say I've never sat down and watched a Charlie Chaplin film. So I had this thing where I said to Sam, I was like, I've got an idea, I've got one of them posters. What if we pick out the films that, I mean for me personally, the films I haven't seen, and we watch them, and then maybe podcast them. He seemed to say it was a good idea. But it's been an interesting, I wonder if it's not good, if I can get it out quick. That's what she said. Well, no, that's what he said. Anyway, there's my little coin. I've got a rubber band. And yeah, I've just been spending various points on an evening, or if I've got a spare minute during the day. Yeah, so literally on the first row, Schindler's List. Haven't seen the 3rd Lord of the Rings. Oh, that's one. Good, the Bad and the Ugly. Never seen it. There's a film called City of God. Never seen it. Oh, there's another one. If there's a remake, they put both years. So 12 Angry Men, I've seen the original. It says it's 1975. But not only have I not seen the remake, I didn't even know there was one. I looked it up, and apparently quite a good cast. So I intend on watching that. Green Mile. Once Upon a Time in the West. The Pianist. Prestige. I've seen bits of it. I've never seen it. Rear Window. Whiplash. Films I have not seen. Doctor Strangelove. Princess Mononoke, another one that I've seen bits of but I've never seen. Once Upon a Time in America. These are getting down to where I'm sort of up to now. Coco, which I find very unusual. Vertigo. Don't think I've seen Vertigo. I haven't got down to this one yet, but I won't be able to fully scratch it off. Spirited Away. Seen loads of that film, but I can't say that I've seen it all. Amadeus. Okay, so here's one. There's a film here just called M. Oh, actually, no, I've already gone past that. So yeah, I haven't scratched off Spirited Away. This is one of those. 2001: A Space Odyssey. Can't scratch it off. Haven't seen it all. Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, never seen it. Toy Story, so I list Toy Story 1, 2 and 3. I've only seen the first 2. So yeah, I mean that's what, maybe a third of the stuff there. So saying, I've probably seen 200. That might not end up being the case, because there's quite a lot that I haven't seen. People are listening to this now going, I can't believe you haven't seen that. It's true. Whatever it is you say that I should have seen by now, I haven't. You are correct, sir or madam. I was a student of film in many ways, but there was a lot that I never got round to seeing or actively never saw. So yeah, that's just something there. Right. I'm going to be quoting His Lordship Mr. William Bill to his friends, or Uncle Billy as he is in our house. Bill Blair often goes on about how we live in a very wasteful society and a very wasteful culture. He also just goes on about how everything ends up in the ocean, which, I don't know, landfills and stuff. There's apparently this big floating island made of plastic. I've heard a lot about it. I don't know if it's real. I don't know. I'll give you an example, right? Today, Leanne was like, "Oh wait, there's a shirt here for you." She had an order from next term. So there's a shirt here for you. I was like, "Ooh, love a shirt." Halfway through taking the shirt out of the packet, I was like, "Do you ever think, why the hell do we need all of this for a shirt?" They talk about how, plastic kills the environment, killing the environment, plastic. My word. This one even had a thing that I've never seen on a shirt before. It was like a plastic base with like a stand for the tie to sit in. Never seen that before. 2 pieces of plastic. There was a plastic bit on the top button, a plastic bit holding the tie on, a plastic clip holding the tie on as well. The things that they used to put labels on clothes, 2 of those joined together to the tie and the shirt. There was another one on the cuff. There was a load of cardboard, a load of paper. Like, in this small packet, I imagine several animals died for that one packaged shirt and tie. Like, Jesus, talk about waste. Obviously, I immediately recycled it all, but what is the process of recycling? Do we know that every single piece of that's going to go back into another pre-packaged shirt and tie? I really want to get into these shops where you take like your container and you get like a container full of cereal, or a container full of flour, or stuff like that, pasta, things like that, so that you don't have to get these packets. I bet you can't do it these days with the old virus. Can't use reusable stuff anymore, can you? So, Bill Blair always goes on about how we live in this massively wasteful society, and if he can fix something, he will. That's where me and him differ. I'd love to be able to fix stuff. I feel it's a failing in my earlier life. There's been various points in my life where I've had the opportunity to learn how to fix things, and I've just not. And now I get to this point now, and I look at stuff and I'm like, "Oh, that's broken. I'm gonna have to pay to get that fixed." Like a door handle. Actually, I did fix the door handle. But other stuff. Cars are the main one. One of the cars, it's like, oh, that's going to cost a lot of money to fix. So, we live in a wasteful society. I fully agree with that. Fully agree. I wish we didn't. So, how does this relate? I'll tell you. I bought a wireless charger for my phone once the pandemic kicked off. I remember, like, everybody joined house party, and then like 2 days later it was this thing about how it had been hacked and it was stealing all your data, and then a couple of days later the guy that owned house party offered $1 million if you could prove where it had been hacked, and stuff like that. It's like it always happens. And Zoom was stealing Chinese data. Sure, I heard something about TikTok recently. They're a Chinese company and they've been stealing data. So at the time, you use your phone for stuff, video calls, stuff. There was like WhatsApp calls, like WhatsApp video calls. And a number of times you sat there and it's like, my phone is just dying battery-wise, and I'm having to hold it, and I can't do anything else, like play computer games rather than listening to this conversation. So I decided my phone has the capability to do wireless charging, always has had. Never bothered with it. I've used Tom's a few times at work, and I think they're kind of cool, but I was never prepared to spend additional money on something that I ultimately didn't need. So I had a little look. I was like, can I get a wireless charger that also serves as a stand? And the answer is yes. Yes, you can. So I looked at reviews and I looked at prices, and I married the two up, and I found what I believed to be a reasonably priced wireless charger that also acted as a stand. Perfect. Ordered it. It arrived. Got it set up. And aside to this story, never once used it for the purpose I bought it for after that. Never had a single video call where I needed to use it. So there's that. So, a few nights ago, I get into bed, plonked my phone down on the charger, started reading my book, and I was like, two things. One, normally when I put it down it tells me that it's charging, and two, I can usually hear it. It makes like a charging noise. I don't know how to explain that other than it makes like a sort of noise. Really high pitched. I imagine it's only me that can hear it, because I was like, oh, that's strange. Checked. Not charging. Okay, have I not put it on properly? Lift it up, put it back down. Not charging. Now, the way I operate, the way I am, the person I am, immediately my thought is, motherfucker, this is broken. Then I'm like, hold on, it might not be. Why don't you try unplugging it, plug it back in again. The old fix 'em all. Unplug it, plug it back in. Which I did. No joy. Fuck. Unplug, plug back in, unplug from the plug back in. Nothing. Like, cool. One point I unplugged it and plugged it back in, and it lit up. I was like, ooh, here we go. Then light went off. Not charging. Fuck you. When I got a cable, plugged it in, phone still charges, so it's not the phone. Like, fantastic. So, me, left it a couple of days, and after a while I'm like, what am I doing here? I've got my phone plugged into a charger, sat on the wireless charger that no longer wirelessly charges. Fantastic. So I went onto Amazon, looked up the order, and found this thing. This is only available for returns up to the 31st of July. Well, that's fantastic. That's wonderful. However, this item is broken, and I ordered it in April. So, May, June, July, Just so happens that the point that you say I can't return this, it's also broken. Interesting. So I'm like, well, I don't care whether I want to return it. The item's broken. I need either a replacement or a refund. That's how it works. Trying to go through. And it was just like, you can't return this item. I don't want to return it. I want a broken item replacing. So I'm like, right. Eventually I ended up saying, like, do you want to speak to somebody? Do you want Amazon to call you now? Well, no, because it's 12 o'clock at night. Do you want to talk to somebody? Oh, yeah, go on then. So it's like, it does the things like, it gives you options, so you start pressing stuff, so it's like, what's it about? Item. Pick the item, this one. Like, didn't receive the order, or stuff like that. I was like, no, it's not like something to do with the item. Basically, I got through, and it returned a thing saying, this item can only be returned up to this point, and that point has passed. Like, yeah, I know that bit. So eventually it was like, has this answered your question? No. And it's like, no, connect me to an assistant. So I press that. It's like, right, give us a load of information while we connect you to an assistant. So I wrote out this long message and I was like, I'm aware that I can only return it up to this point. However, the item is broken, doesn't work, and I've only had it 3 months. Surely that negates any form of returns policy because, you know, it's like manufacturer's warranty sort of thing. The only thing was, it wouldn't connect to a person. So 20 minutes, half an hour later, it's still saying that it was going to connect. I just closed the app, put the phone down, thought nothing of it. Next morning I get up, 2 emails from Amazon. First email, as discussed, okay, I haven't had a conversation with anyone. I have issued a refund of £12.87 to your account where you paid for said item. We'll let you know when we've processed your refund. Okay. Next email. We've processed your refund. You're going to get it back after X amount of time and after your bank processes it, which can take 3 to 5 days. We'll let you know. Okay. So this raised a load of other questions. Went back through it and I'm like, well, firstly, the item in question cost £15. So why have you refunded me less than £15? Don't understand. Secondly, and most important at this point in time, what am I supposed to do with the broken charger? Here's the thing. The charger is made of metal. It's like a heavy, it's like a paperweight. It's heavy. It's made of metal. It doesn't work. I haven't got a freaking clue how I would go about fixing it because I don't know what might be wrong with it. What I do know is it's a fair size, it's heavy, it's made of metal. The fucking hell am I going to do with it? Yeah. And immediately I'm just like, this is what Bill Burr keeps talking about. We live in this incredibly wasteful society where Amazon have just gone, yeah, don't worry about sending it back. I mean, that means you have to find a way to dispose of it and it's a faulty item that really should go back to the manufacturer. We're also going to give you less money than what you paid for it. Still don't get that one. I'm like, how incredibly wasteful that is. You know, I don't know that they couldn't have got it back. Like, the company could have got it back and looked at it and gone, oh, it's just, you know, a faulty cable, or oh, it's a faulty whatever. I'm not saying they could have resold it. But in a situation where they could have got it back and gone, well, we'll repair it and send it back to you. You know, that sort of thing. Nope. None of that. Just is 12 quid. Sod off. So now I'm like, cool. I'm without a charger. I'm now going to have to wait for that money to come back and then re-buy a wireless charger. Honestly, don't need it. Honestly, got used to having it. You know, maybe I should take the money and run. As I say every week, still don't trust that fucking laptop. Oh, I'm full of swears today. Full of the swearsies. So, I want to talk about something. It's a twofold thing. Went to Brew York yesterday. Mr. Woodmancy contacted one of the bigger groups that we've got and was like, hey, Brew York opens on Saturday. Do you want to go on Sunday? I'm like, yeah. Everybody else was like, yeah. That was that. And then you get like a 2-hour slot. Go, do beer. So we went, we met up, we went in, we did beer. We includes me. And that's right. I had an ale. A Nanny State, which if anybody out there actually knows their beers will be able to tell you, is alcohol free. So, social distancing, all this and the other. What was good is you didn't have to wear masks in there, which was kind of cool. I don't know how you would drink your beer. Honestly, and I'm being honest here, I don't know how people do it. I ordered this Nanny State non-alcoholic beer. It was an ale, non-alcoholic ale. I was surprised at this. I thought I'd then ordered a glass of lemonade and a glass of like lime cordial. What in actual fact I apparently ordered was lime and lemonade. So they brought them both out. Everyone else is drinking the beers. They've got thirds or halves or whatever. I think, in fact, I'm not going to think, I'm going to tell you. Where is that email? Because the way you do it, you order it on an app, bring it to your table, you take your... Oh, it's actually cheaper than I thought it was. I was going to complain about the price, but I'd be wrong to do that for £5.75. That was £5.75 for me. The other gentleman, Mr. Woodmancy, Mr. Moore, Mr. Williams, and Mr. Panas, were all on the filthy beer. Yeah, there was food and stuff, but I was looking at the prices. I was looking at the amount you get, and I've said it before. I really probably missed the boat being a non-drinker in a world of wanky beer. Bear in mind, my fridge is full of wanky beers right now, alcohol-free wanky beers, and that's what I'm going to come to. Anyway, yeah, we had our 2 hours. They all had something to eat. They all had. The food looked amazing. You know, I'm a vegetarian, but I can appreciate meat. The food looked amazing, and the key ingredient, ladies and gentlemen, was a proper portion of chips. Like, came out on these trays, and the burger took up like an amount of the tray, and the rest of the tray was fries. I'm like, that, ladies and gentlemen, is a portion of chips, and that is what a portion of chips should look like. Or fries. They were fries. We had a couple of hours. I had to go and move the car. Ended up going and picking up the baby and Leanne. We were going to go to Next, and then we didn't. We went back into town, and we went to see them. They were all in Spark. Took the baby. She was very disapproving of James Panas. Mostly because he hasn't been to see her. Then we went to see Chris at Expressions. I bought a beautiful hat, which I really couldn't afford, but it was too nice to leave behind. So, alcohol-free beer. I've had a few now. I had an entire box of alcohol-free Becks, which for alcohol-free beer was actually really nice. But the unfortunate thing is, whenever I finish one, I go, wasn't bad that. Might as well have had a glass of water, because it's alcohol-free beer. It has no purpose whatsoever. So it's a bit like, I've had some that have been particularly not very nice. And I've had some that are actually quite nice. There's a Brooklyn one that's really nice. But ultimately, a pointless exercise. So, last Wednesday, went to Tesco's. I was like, right, I've been saving some of these wanky beers. I've got an idea. If I buy another one of the ones that I've been saving, that will allow me to drink the ones I've got. Some kind of method in the madness. Don't ask me to explain it. So I got a Cosmic Milk Stout. Another one of them Brooklyn ones. A bottle of Ghost Ship. All this. So I drank the Milk Stout. Now, something I've learnt through this whole process is there's a difference between non-alcoholic and alcohol-free, I guess it must be. Basically, some of them have absolutely no alcohol in whatsoever. Big thumbs up. Some of them have 0.5%. Now that's not alcohol-free, although it might be listed as alcohol-free. That's not no alcohol, that's a little bit of alcohol. Had the Cosmic Milk Stout on Wednesday night. Woke up Thursday and got out of bed. Was like, that's an interesting sensation. Because if I didn't know better, I would say that I was hungover. Yeah. Felt exactly like what I remember a hangover to feel like. And I was not impressed. Honestly, it could have just been a headache. Honestly, it could have just been like I got dehydrated through the night, or I'd not drunk enough water the day before, or any of those things, but I felt like I had a hangover. Not impressed with that. So, comes yesterday, I ordered this Nanny State. It comes, I'm like, oh, it's an ale. They brought a glass, I poured it out, it was like very dark. Looked at it, oh, it's actually an ale. Now, I've never drunk ale. Ale is a lot more popular now because of the wangy beer craze. But ale to me back in my day was like, I would always say the phrase a pint pot. It's that sort of thing. Pint pot with ale in. So I drank it, and I was between my lemonade and my ale, chopping between the two. As I got home to collect Leanne, I was like, Leanne and the baby, I was like, yep, I've got a headache. Now this was an hour and a half later. I'm like, yeah, that can't be a coincidence. And I ended up saying to Leanne, I was like, I had this thing on Wednesday, I've got this thing today. I'm starting to think that it might be like an allergy. It might be like some kind of reaction. I was saying to Leanne, I was like, I know that her mum has a very sort of a thing where she can't even go, be in the vicinity of alcohol. If she has an alcoholic drink, she just feels absolutely awful. And I can sympathise with that, because I got to the point, and the big reason that I stopped drinking was that no matter how much I had to drink, I had just got a hangover every time. I could have like a couple of drinks. Next day, sure enough, hangover. And I presume that the tolerance for it just doesn't exist. My tolerance for alcohol has gone. Even in baby doses. So, yeah, interesting fact. Me and alcohol don't get on. And then you know something. I don't care. I'm not bothered. Right. Let's get motoring. Pet love, pet hate. This week's Pet Love Pet Hate is podcast based. I absolutely love getting up to date with podcasts. I've not been watching anything during the day. I've just been listening to podcasts. Apart from today, strangely enough, today I needed something a bit more to help me get through the day. So I had a couple of things on in the background, but only like one thing that I spread out through the entire day. I was absolutely determined to get work done today. Starting to get downtrodden by the work. It's properly doing my treeing. So I was like, let's just try and get all the work gone. It's just not possible. Yeah, anyway. So, absolutely love getting podcasts up to date. Currently working through Michael Rosenbaum's podcast, Inside of You. Really enjoy it because he has some really good guests. Michael Rosenbaum, got a lot of time for him. Lex Luthor, Smallville was good. Almost prefer him as the voice of the Flash. To me, and this is something we'll come to in a bit, to me, there are certain people, there are certain voices, and as far as I'm concerned, they should always do those roles. Michael Rosenbaum should always voice the Flash. Kevin Conroy should always voice Batman. Mark Hamill should always be the voice of the Joker. I think Tim Daly should always voice Superman, and so on and so forth. Basically, anybody that did the original Justice League voices, they should all just do them from now till the end of time. I've got like a coffee. My pet hate for this week is, I hate it. It's a real peeve of mine. I wanted to start a podcast for 18 months before I actually did it. And a variety of reasons stopped me. One of those reasons was I was like, can't do a podcast, I'm not famous, nobody will listen. And one of the things that annoys me is, and this is this week's pet hate, when podcasts that I listen to cover topics that I or me and other people have covered, and it's okay for them to cover it. Like, we've already covered it, and I can't imagine anybody will have heard it, yet they go and cover the exact same thing, and it's like, yeah, you'll have had, 150,000 people will have listened to this in the first few days of you releasing it. And it's just that, every single famous person on the face of the earth has got a podcast, and every single one of them's got 1 million followers, 1 million subscribers. It was that whole thing about like Jack Black, basically giving up acting to become a YouTube star, and within the first few days had 1 million subscribers. It's like, oh yeah, why don't you leave some of the pie for the rest of us? It's that. Yeah, it annoys me. So that's this week's Pet Love Pet Hate. I would be sitting here right now saying to you that I haven't watched any TV this week until last night. So Friday, season 2 Umbrella Academy was released on Netflix. Which is fine and dandy and all that. I saw reviews that said season 2 better than season 1. It's plugged all the holes from the first season and all this. However, I had an issue with the end of series 1 because I had this horrible feeling what series 2 was going to look like. And I'm like, oh man, it's going to be all the freaking cliches. It's going to be time travel bullshit. It's going to be, oh no, we've got to save the world again. What does that little bit count? I want to suck your blood. I could see it. I could see it all laid out by the last bit of the last episode. I was like, oh god, that's going to be super annoying. So me and Leanne agreed that we'd watch series 2, and I was like, I've heard great things about it, but I'm worried, I'm concerned. And don't you worry, ladies and gentlemen, my concerns were valid. I'm already wondering why it's had the reviews it's had, because it's so, I was going to say cliche, but that's not it. It's so prescriptive. It's like, I don't know, minor spoilers ahead, by the way, but we've already got the time travel thing going, which pisses me off no end. I refer back to my Endgame reviews, of which there was several. We've got this is a spoiler, I'm not going to say who or what. We've got I've got no memory side of it. We've got so many things that we've seen before from a multitude of different programs that I'm just like, I kind of don't want to watch it, because I'm like, I saw all this coming and you proved me right, which has pissed me off. If you'd have proved me wrong, I'd have been well on board. I'd have been like, yes, strap in, let's do this. But you didn't. At this point in time, I can only presume it gets better. I've watched one episode. I don't know how many there are. 10 maybe. Let's just see. There was a really cool bit in the first episode where they all sort of come together and they're all using their powers out in the open, and some amazing special effects and all of that, and I'm like, yeah, this is cool. Yeah, it lasted for like 10 seconds maybe. So yeah, I watched some movies. I have watched 3 films. In keeping with watching the DC stuff, did watch Justice League. Oh, excuse me, I'm very tired. I watched Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. I believe it's the end of some story that's been running through some of the DC movies. I have to admit, at this point, I don't think I've seen the others. I've seen a lot of the DC movies. I believe that the one that the girls got for Christmas, the Judas Contract, I think that might be one of them. And then there's a Justice League Dark, which I kind of did want to see, but again, another one of those, like I was saying about the movie poster, I just didn't get around to it. So there was a little bit of I kind of felt like I was missing part of the story. Oh, maybe that Doom one was maybe part of it. Anyway, it was very good. It was brutal. I am not kidding when I say I had to look away, not look away, but I had to turn away from the screen on more than a few occasions. By the end of that film, there was literally nobody left alive. People got limbs torn off, people got torn in half. They basically used it as an... It felt to me like Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe. If anybody's ever seen that graphic novel or read that graphic novel, it felt like that. It was like, let's take this opportunity to kill everyone. Or maim in some way. You know, by the end it was like Hawkman was basically just an android. And a load of others were very much like that. The Flashpoint paradox, that's also a part of the story. I don't want to spoil it. Anybody that might be interested, thoroughly recommend. We'll say this, loads of swearing in it. They even got an F-bomb in there. I was like, we left the children behind a long time ago with the DC animated stuff. Which is cool. Although I watched it, I was like, man, I really wish that I could show this to my eldest with her enjoyment of the DC stuff. Honestly, can't tell you when I might consider showing her that, because it was brutal. There was a bit where Harley Quinn was smashing people's skulls in with the hammer that she has, like full blown smashing people's skulls in. Like, it was good. It was enjoyable. Good to see some of the characters coming back. Raven and Robin and Trigon and Darkseid. Darkseid's always struck me as an interesting foe, I guess. Saying about the voices and stuff earlier, the voices, you know, when you get away from people that have played those parts, you know, Batman's always the one. When Kevin Conroy's not doing Batman, I'm just like, who do we have to sit through this time? I think there's a possibility that that Superman was Superman. And I think the same person who has been doing Wonder Woman, whether that's the person from the original Justice League, I don't know. I could look it up, but I won't, because it's rude. But the voices, one of the main characters was Constantine, and his voice is awful. It's this, he's supposed to be British, but he's obviously portrayed as has been living in America for a long time, so he's got this really muddied voice, but it's just terrible. It's like an American doing a British accent, a British impression, like, oh mate, I'm a Cockney, you know. It's like, yeah, that's not good. Very enjoyable, highly recommend it. If you're into that sort of stuff, check it out. Finally watched Parasite, the Oscar-winning Korean film from the same director who did Snowpiercer, amongst other things. I knew that it was supposed to be part comedy and part really dark, and I knew that there was like something about like there's people and they go and live in somebody else's house. That's basically as much as I knew about that film, which isn't a lot. And weirdly, that description is basically right. It's part comedy, part really, really dark. And basically, there's just a little bit of story, no spoilers. There's a family, and they find a way to sort of end up, one of them goes to teach one of the children and become their teacher, like their home tutor, and then another one becomes another child's tutor, and then one of them becomes another part of the household, and another one becomes, and like this family's basically con artists, basically, one of a better way of putting it. And it's a statement of society. That's the other thing that I knew about it. Very good. Very good film. But because of this isn't a bad but because of the mix, like 1 minute you're laughing your ass off, and the next minute you're creeped out, and the next minute you're like, I'm not sure I know what's going on. And then the next minute you're like it's like there's a part so far through the film you're like, oh, what's going on here, and then it's like, oh wow, this is like, it takes a weird turn, and then it turns again, and then there's another bit, and it's like, whew, like there are points where you feel like you have to sort of strap in a bit. Sad in places. Just a real mixed bag, not in a bad way. I know how a lot of my reviews come across. I don't want this to come across as me saying that in a bad way. Just a real mixed bag. Because, like I say, 1 minute you're laughing, and the next minute you're freaked out in some ways. Yeah, well worth checking out. Really sort of like, whew. So that's Parasite. For ages and ages and ages, I've been wanting to watch Hercules. There's a variety of films that I really enjoy for a variety of different reasons. I was talking about Turbo last week. One of my favourite films is How to Train Your Dragon. As I've got older, I've had to sort of wonder about whether I attribute the feeling that goes with something rather than what it actually is. As an example, whenever I think about Ghost Recon Wildlands, I have that sort. I have a true love for that game. But is that because of the fact it's an amazing game, or is that because there was a point in time where I spent a little bit of time playing it with my eldest? I remember distinctly the interaction that we had. She wanted to know what I was doing. I was like, "Oh, I'm playing an alpha for this new game, and you can drive around and stuff." And she was just like, I want to go. Let me have a go. I'm like, well, do you know how to drive? I know how to do it. Let me do it. And she was driving around in like a Jeep. Is it that? The film Moana, big thing for me and my eldest. Turbo was similar, but Turbo was the film that I always wanted to watch and she never did. But then she'd like give in. She's like, fine, we can watch that if you want. And I'd be like, oh yeah, it's a great film. So there's parts of me that make me wonder whether it's what was happening at the time rather than the film. How to Train Your Dragon, watched it back to back whilst flying to Vegas. Was it because it's a great film, or was it because I was flying to Vegas? Who knows? Maybe it's a little column A, maybe it's a little column B sort of situation. But with Turbo, I bought it ages ago, and then I was just waiting for a point in time to watch it, and then eventually I was like, solid, I'm going to watch it. Hercules, exactly the same thing. I really like that film. Not gonna lie, I like that film. I really wanted to watch it. Got to the point, I was like, you know something, I'm just going to watch it. I don't think any of my children would want to sit down and watch Hercules. Me and my eldest have watched it. I watched it a couple of times, but I know that at this point in time she wouldn't want to watch that film. So I watched it. I presume it's had like a remaster. It had some CG, and I was like, I don't know if I remember this being CG originally. But it's CG in what I watched. I watched it on Disney Plus, so I didn't have to buy it, so there was that. And whatever they've done to it, it looks amazing. It looks beautiful. I was proper taken aback by how amazing it looked. One of the reasons, it's got an amazing voice cast. I've said for years, Hades in Hercules could be hands down one of the best bad guys ever. James Woods does an amazing job voicing Hades. Bobcat Goldthwait voices one of the minions that he has. Amazing. Is it Rip Torn that does the voice of Zeus? I'm meaning to look this up all day. Now then, there you go, you see. Hades, young Hercules. Danny DeVito. Fantastic. Yeah, Bobcat Go. Yeah, Rip Torn is Zeus. Amazing. Just there's a lot of casting, like voice casting, in that film that is just so nailed on. Charlton Heston, narrator. I think he narrates like the first few lines. Just fantastic. As I'm sure you can tell at this point in time, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It looked amazing. When I was watching it, I was like, this is basically the Superman story. After all this time, I'm like, this is basically Superman. And I googled it, and it what it said was that Disney took a lot of like cues from Superman comics and Superman cartoons at the time that they made the film, but the character of Superman was basically taken from the mythology of Hercules. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Sort of noticing that and then sort of looking it up and stuff. Thoroughly enjoyable. I'd watch it again. Each one of those, I would sit down and watch that now if you gave me the choice. So it's that sort of thing. So yeah, I've been playing some game. I was playing DC Universe. My eldest got me back into playing DC Universe, and I took a character up to having like a full set of armour, like flash armour. And then the other day I got a Superman cape. But then since then I haven't played it. So that's I don't feel like I'm going to go back to it anytime soon. But I do think that me and her will probably play at some point in the near future. So I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima at any available opportunity that I get. I don't like to review stuff too soon because things can change. What I can say is at this point in time, thoroughly enjoying that game. For the third time, that game has told me that I haven't finished the first area. Like at one point, it was like, you've beaten the castle, so you've finished the first area. It's like, sweet. It's like, obviously you haven't done all of the farms that have been taken over by the Mongols. I'm like, oh, Okay, I didn't realise that was the thing. Alright, I'll go back to the first area and clear out those farms. It was like, cool, you did a good job. Like, thanks. A bit later, I had to return to the first area to drop off these banners. And it was like, oh yeah, we've unlocked all the map now. You can see all the map and you can see all the places that you haven't been to. It's like, what? So at the moment I'm just going around the first area and basically tidying up all the stuff I haven't done. Just like there's various like shrines and hot springs and fox dens and stuff like that. I'm really enjoying it. I don't usually sort of say that at this point in time. I got a lot of the upgrades. Still working through the upgrades. One thing I will say, and this is the same for all games, it's not just this game. Something that annoys me about a lot of games these days is when you unlock something new. Like in this case, armour. I put a lot of effort into getting a new piece of armour. Was told it was amazing. The thing of legends, indestructible, all of this. I needed 6 keys to unlock where the armour was kept. I collected all 6 keys by clearing out 6 farms that were full of Mongols. So not easy tasks. I had to free 3 or more hostages and so on and so forth. Got all the keys, went to the place, fought a load of Mongols, opened the door, went in, and it's like, here's the armour. Sweet! Put it on, went, that's not as good as what I'm wearing. So why did I bother? Stuff like that. I mean, every piece of armour I've unlocked since the first bit of armour, I'm like, this is no good to me. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't serve any purpose. Like, oh, I can use archery better than if I wasn't wearing this armour. Cool, but this armour gives me more health, more damage, and more something else. I'm like, surely that's better. It's a little annoying. So it is a comment on this game, but it's a comment on all games. The only game that recently that I ever thought actually did a good job, weirdly, was Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Anything you get in that game is better than what you've got 90% of the time, and that's something I thoroughly enjoyed about that game. Pretty much the only thing. Ghost of Tsushima is great. I am enjoying it immensely. Obviously now I've said that out loud, that means it's going to turn on me and I'll end up hating it. I'm hoping not. I've got 2 areas left to do, but when I've gone into the second area, like I say, I've ended up going back to the first and I'm tidying stuff up. But when I've gone into the second area, I'm like, whoa, there's a lot to do here. Just missions alone, there's a lot to do. I've unlocked a variety of different things. I got a new special move type thing, so there's only 1 left to get, which would appear to be some kind of flaming sword, which, yes please, flaming sword. It's great. I know a lot of people said the Last of Us Part 2 was going to be the game to end this generation. I would definitely say that is wrong. Ghost of Tsushima is absolutely the game that will go down as ending this generation. Certainly, in my opinion, in my eyes, that's what I think. So yeah, as predicted, when I said I didn't think I had a lot to talk about, we've now gone what would appear to be well over the hour mark. So I'm going to let you guys go, get back to what you were doing before I turned up, and I'll speak to you next time. See ya. So there we go, what do you think of that? Another one done, and another week gone. Whew, where does the time go? YouTube watchers, do subscribe, be a love, you know you want to. Everybody jump over to thecookiecast.com, check us out over there, send us some form of message, whether it's social media, email, or just draw on the screen, we'll get it eventually. So there we go, that's it for this one. Till next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then. Bye!